Today I'm going to be discussing a somewhat controversial subject within 76, duping. I was also going to talk at some length about hacking and general exploiting of the game, but this turned out to be quite the lengthy video as is. Before I can really start on this video, there are a few things I need to make clear. This is not a witch hunt video. I'm not here to call out any individuals for what they may or may not have done. That's not my style. I also want this to be more of a discussion as opposed to a hit piece. I personally am against hacking, duping and the like. However, this video is designed to explore the issue in some depth, talking about why these things occur, as well as looking at the negative side of the issue. Last thing to make clear is that hacks, glitches, exploits, bugs, whatever you want to call them, the issues we will be discussing in this video are focused around those done intentionally by players to gain a significant advantage, despite not being developer intended in any way. With those clarifications out of the way, let's get into the meat of the video, starting with community opinion on duping. I posted a community poll about a week ago, asking my subscribers what should happen to people who dupe items in 76. I gave 4 options: nothing, remove all duped items, temporary ban, and permanent ban. Before delving into the numbers on this poll, there's a couple of things worth mentioning. I gave a negative personal opinion towards dupers in this post, meaning that there will likely be some individuals who voted harsher than they may have otherwise. Additionally, this was just a poll conducted within my community, not sent to everyone who plays 76, so it will not be entirely accurate or representative to what the whole community feels in general. The poll did receive over 1,700 votes however, so I feel it's a large enough sample size to at least provide a small amount of insight into the general feeling on duping. The first choice of having nothing happen to dupers had 16% of the votes, equating to at least 272 people voting for it. Honestly, this surprised me somewhat, as I would have imagined this option to receive the fewest votes, as I would expect the majority of people choosing this option to be those who have duped at some point, and are worried about facing consequences. Of course, this isn't entirely the case. A lot of the comments show reluctance towards Bethesda implementing any sort of harsh punishment, lest it befall those who have done nothing wrong. The vast majority of players have likely ended up with a duped item in their inventory through no fault of their own. Maybe they've purchased items from another player, found a drop plan at a train station, or been gifted a bit of gear by a friend. Through any of these means you could end up with a duped item without knowing about it. You wouldn't be in the wrong, you're playing the game exactly as it's meant to be played, but you've ended up with a duped item on your person. There's then a fear that you'll suffer consequences because of this, despite doing absolutely nothing wrong, and I think that fear is somewhat warranted. If Bethesda becomes too zealous and bans everyone in possession of a duped item, then they'd be saying goodbye to 99% of their player base. Instead, let's take a look at the second poll option, remove all duped items. This got the second highest number of votes at 22%, equating to at least 374 people. If duped items are regularly removed from a game, then there's less incentive to dupe. Rare items stay somewhat rare, and the dupers have to work harder to exploit the game. Thing is, this only helps to a small degree, and could actually harm legitimate players more than dupers. Say that, at the start of every week, Bethesda is able to remove every single duped item from the game. Well, after Monday rolls around, a duper could dupe a legitimately good weapon they've got their hands on, put a couple in the vendor, make a reasonable number of caps off of selling them to unknowing players, and then, when the next week rolls around, those items disappear and the innocent player lose a weapon which they may have spent a lot of caps on. Even without an innocent getting screwed over, consumables could still just be duped and then instantly used. Some of the most heavily duped items are Nuka-Cola, holiday presents, and likely the new Mole Miner pails. Once these are used, you can't remove them, so this option still wouldn't solve that. I'd love it if one day there were no duped items in the game, but simply removing all current duped items can't solve that while there are still dupers around. With that in mind, we move on to the next poll option, give dupers a temporary ban. This received the lowest number of votes, coming in at 14%, at least 238 individuals voting for it. I had been expecting this to receive the most votes, so I was somewhat surprised by this outcome. If someone is caught duping, then banning them for a week or a month stops them from doing so again on their account for that period of time. However, it doesn't stop them from going back to their old ways after the ban, or just purchasing the game on a second account and duping over there. Personally, I feel that the temporary ban works well as a warning. There will be plenty of people out there who see no problem whatsoever in duping items. A short ban for doing so would not only let them know that their actions have consequences, but would also serve as some sort of deterrent for the more casual player who considers duping a few things here and there. It's not so harsh as to lose a significant chunk of the player base, but it's also not tough enough to stop those who try to turn duping into real-world profit. For those players, you'd need to go for a permanent ban, something which a staggering 48% of the poll voted for. That's over 816 of you who want to see dupers banned from the game permanently, and it's a sentiment that I can all too well understand. At time of writing, and likely at time the video releases too, player vending is disabled due to a duping exploit that it helped facilitate. This has left all of us without one of the best features of 76. It's now harder to obtain the items we need, more of a struggle to make caps, and we even have less of an incentive to travel to other players' camps. With how long this issue has been going on, it's no surprise that anti-duper sentiment is at an all-time high, and plenty of players are fed up and just want them gone. When everyone gets punished for the actions of a few, those few suddenly receive great disdain. But what actually happens when you ban a duper? Assuming it's done correctly, they can no longer play 76 on their account. In order to play the game again, they have to create a new account, repurchase the game, and start from scratch. This is a significant punishment, and means that repeat dupers will have to keep paying Bethesda in order to carry on duping. Problem there is that plenty of dupers end up making money from their actions. Despite it being against terms of service, there are players who will try to sell their in-game items on third-party websites for real money. The fact people then buy said items with real money honestly saddens me more, but while this remains, even a permanent ban can't guarantee that duping will stop. It is, however, a strong deterrent which helps to significantly reduce the number of dupers in total, until the next free weekend rolls around at least, and then the problem becomes a million times worse for the next week or two. When you get right down to it, banning dupers, taking their items away, or simply asking them to stop will not truly solve the problem. The issue needs to be patched entirely, and that's hard to do when thousands of people seem to be searching for duplication glitches every single day. With so many people constantly searching for a new way to dupe, Bethesda doesn't stand much of a chance of staying on top of it, while also making new content for the game, addressing other concerns, and keeping their employees sane. We need to now take a step back and look at why so many players dupe. By understanding the root cause and logic behind it, we can move forwards towards a solution. At this point, I'd like to mention hackers, those players who will fly through the map in nuclear winter and never fail to land a single headshot. Hackers are rule breakers to the greatest degree. Anyone of sound mind doesn't hack without knowing they're cheating. They simply don't care about the experience of other players, or about having a fair playing field. They want to gain satisfaction of winning a video game no matter the cost. Dupers, on the other hand, are using an exploit within the game itself to give themselves extra items. They likely spend a fair bit of time searching for how to duplicate items, but they don't have to go so far as to install some dodgy software in order to do this. All it takes them is a couple of hours of internet browsing. For this reason, a duper may well not consider what they're doing to be cheating or even wrong in any way whatsoever. After all, if you can do it in the game, then it's allowed, right? That is the line of thinking I see so often, and it's a huge factor in why so many people dupe. If Bethesda truly wants to stop duping, then they need to make a very clear and very public statement indicating that duping is not allowed within the game. Even if there were no consequences attached to it, simply making sure every player knows it's against the rules would reduce the number of people willing to dupe. It's not going to stop a lot of people, especially anyone who saw this video and instantly left an angry comment, but it will at least cause the more well-reasoned dupers out there to consider if they want to break the rules, or if they're happy to play legit and not get that illegitimate leg up. They may well still decide they want to dupe though, because, quite honestly, Fallout 76 is filled with a crazy amount of grind. My biggest personal problem with the game itself is that it relies so heavily on RNG that getting the specific items you want is comically difficult. I made a video a little over a year ago called "The Legendary System is Broken, Here's How to Fix It." In that video I discussed the RNG problem with legendary items, and I ran some numbers showing that a 3-star enemy has over 300,000 different legendary items it can drop. If you want a very specific 3-star legendary item, then the odds are stacked against you to an unreasonable degree, and there's very little you can do to get those odds back in your favour. When you start looking into the numbers of it all, you can see where dupers are coming from. Nobody wants to spend 1,000 hours just getting their build together. Spending 5 or 6 hours looking for someone to dupe the items for you though? Sure, plenty of people are happy to do that, even if it might be breaking the rules. In order to reduce the incentive for people to dupe, Fallout 76 needs to be dictated a little less by RNG. This doesn't have to come in the form of huge sweeping changes. I understand that RNG has its place within the game, and keeps people coming back, hoping for that one god row item or ultra rare outfit. Changes such as ensuring 3-star enemies only drop 3-star legendaries, keeping most rare plan drops to 1% or above, and adding more unique or guaranteed items to the game all can help to reduce the reliance some players have towards duping. My fear is that while duping is prevalent, Bethesda can ignore any concern with RNG, as players are simply exploiting their way around the issue. No need to fix a problem that is only affecting players who refuse to break the rules after all, they're the suckers who will keep playing no matter what. I sincerely hope this line of thinking has never occurred within Bethesda's ranks, but there sure are times when it feels that way. I want everyone to be able to play this game in a way that's fair and balanced, where we can all have fun and nobody feels the need to exploit the game in any way. There needs to be work put in on both sides for that to happen though. Dupers need to stop spending so much time creating new issues to be fixed, and Bethesda needs to consider why some people work so hard to circumnavigate the game in the first place. It's going to take a joint effort to put an end to duping once and for all. It requires more than a single simple solution to fix, and really needs a multifaceted approach to quell once and for all. With just how much content we've got coming through this year though, I honestly can't see Bethesda putting in the required time to deal with the issue. And that means it's left down to the player base, to all of us, to try and deal with this in the best way possible. If every 76 player out there can stop duping, then there's suddenly no more issue for me to be talking about. We no longer have to worry about our rare items becoming worthless overnight, or servers being crashed by groups of players trying to make a quadrillion explosive handmade rifles appear in their inventory. Will this happen though? Well, judging by the fact this video will almost certainly receive a fair number of dislikes and angry comments, I'd say it's unlikely everyone will be on board. Anyway, that's enough for this video. If you have anything you want to say on the subject, well, that's what the comment section is there for. Do try to keep things civil though. If you want to hear my ideas for how to improve a legendary system, then please do take a look at my "The Legendary System is Broken" video. It's an old one now, but one of my best and well worth a watch if you've ever got a bad legendary roll. I'll make sure to link it in the description. To all of you who have stuck through with this video till the very end, thanks for watching. Sarge out.